I've spent the last 6 months making DIY videos. I haven't done any kind of board setup, trick tip videos, any kind of like traditional YouTube skateboard content in such a long time. And there's a reason for that. And I kind of wanted to hopefully use this opportunity of setting up a new board to sort of explain why I've taken that big gap. I started this channel with doing DIY stuff, and that is the roots, but there's some reasons why I haven't really been doing, the other type of videos, which I do enjoy, which is just going out on the session. I don't think I've made a video where I'm like actually skating in the last like 6 months, which is pretty crazy. I'm gonna be setting up this polar board right now. I'm pretty excited. It is an 8.5, so I pretty much like adapted to the 8.5 board setup. I still have my 8.75 that I recently set some new Lurpib trucks up on, but the wheelbase on this bad boy is a 13.75, which is pretty nice because you're getting that width with a little bit of a shorter wheelbase. It's not super short, average 8.5 board. I think it's normally like a 14.5. So with that said, let's get into it. We get towards the end of this video, I will get some skating because yeah, I figured this would be a good way to like kind of break my rhythm of not making, skate videos where I'm actually skating. I'm always just like building spots. The main reason that I've stopped like making skate videos, traditional skate videos, just because I kind of got burnt. To be honest, I felt like everything was very redundant, and because there's so many good YouTube skate channels out there, I just, eventually didn't feel like I was providing any value. So that's like kind of why I stick to the DIY stuff now for the past 6 months, is primarily focusing on the DIY because not too many other channels really do that. There's a couple out there, but none that do it on a consistent basis. And now I'm getting kind of burnt on the DIY stuff. So if anything, this will kind of bring everything full circle. First, we'll get this board set up and then we'll dive into all that stuff. I got some mob grip. I do like the pepper grip tape, but they didn't have any at the shop. I'm going to use the Brad Cromer technique and just put the grip tape right on and not really scrape the edges. He made a video recently setting up a board. I was inspired. I was influenced by it. I'm going to do a tiny little stripe at the bottom. Just I do like to know where the front of my board is and where the back of the board is when I'm throwing down.
Just be tight. Good.
Mob grip is pretty good because it does have the perforated holes. You get less air bubbles.
Good.
No scraping yet is. I got some really big wheels too. I feel like I've been struggling lately getting to spots or like skating while like things are skating. I want a really small, tiny stripe, just barely, but I don't want like to be missing too much grip tape. Gotta keep it pretty simple, but I need a little something. I'm gonna sand down some of the edges so it doesn't curl over. But I feel like Mob's pretty good about like not curling. I like the yellow veneer. It's really nice with the black graphic. I also do want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, QCY Cross Sky headphones. They're pretty cool. They hooked these up recently. Having headphones is a good way to just like get hyped up for the session. These headphones are super rad, and I like how they clip into your ear really easily. And the other thing about these kind of headphones is like they don't fall off your ears, which is pretty nice. You got this little charging case. They say charge for like over 24 hours. But not only that, I feel like these stay in your ears really good, and they're not like above your head. I saw someone recently at 10 AM. They had like the big headphones like over their head, and like they fell off mid-run. You had to like set them down on the ledge and keep skating. So yeah, it's kind of nice having these little headphones where they just latch onto the side. I've been skating with these and they're really good also because you can hear your board. I feel like skating is like one of those things where like sound is so important. So I think these headphones and specifically are really nice because you can hear your skating. They're nice and loud, they stay charged, and they stay on your ears. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check these bad boys out. Shout out to QCY for sponsoring this video. You guys roll. Let's get these trucks on here, actually, these Lurpib trucks. I'm still running these Ace hardware, hollow hardware. I'm not crazy about hardware and not like doesn't need to be anything specific, but the fact that they're hollow is pretty cool. They're really light. Long hardware is like the worst. Alright, we got our holes in here. Now we gotta get our hardware on. And my Lurpib trucks are still good. Like I said, I got some 160s for my 875 board, and I've been loving them. I'm still running them. Hollow kingpin, hollow hanger, hollow all the way around. These are the 150s. I think they fit the A5 board really good. I've made videos about it in the past, and I don't want to be too redundant like I was saying earlier, but essentially I do like to see my wheels under my board. Not my wheels, but I like to see the nut of the truck because I just feel like you have more balance. Basically just a preference thing. Some people actually like them hidden underneath there. I don't like them too wide, like I don't want my wheels sitting out of my board, but I do like to be able to see the nut, maybe the edge of the wheel, depending on the wheel shape. No riser pads because I like to run the metal straight onto the wood. There are wood riser pads that I've seen you can get. I may consider getting now that I'm going to be running some much bigger wheels than I've been running in a long time. I've had wheels this big in probably over like 10 years. I've been riding everything from like 53 to 54 to 56 at the biggest in the last 10 years. I try not to move the top of the hardware and actually just use the bottom to bring the hardware down because otherwise it kind of like curls and crinkles your grip tape on the top. Now one thing I'm considering doing is actually taking the shields off my bone Swiss bearings. I always run bearings with the shields on when I get them. Eventually they start to get kind of banged up, but right now they're like sort of indented, but they're still rolling pretty good and they sound nice. But the shields are actually indented inwards, and I think that could be from me just like screwing down my nut too much, putting too much pressure on them. I think I'm actually going to pop them out now though, because I'll just relieve some of that pressure. Obviously it will get them dirty, but at the same time I've had them for over a year and a half and they've been running really good. So typically my process for bearings, I like to leave the shields on until it gets to that point where like it feels like they're kind of creating more problem than solution right now. Normally you can just use a razor blade, kind of just get underneath it, pop it, just like that. And I definitely don't recommend taking them out if they're new, like I said, but these are pretty rusty. Oh yeah, they're already, I can tell they're spinning better. So I'm actually gonna pop all these off really quick. They're pretty easy to pop off, especially if you've been running them for a while. As you can see, these bearings are pretty rusty, but they still spin really good. So I've actually got these Spitfire Formula 4 Classic, and I went up so big. I went to a 58. These are the biggest wheels, like I was saying, that I've had in probably like 10 years. I used to ride 60s when I was really young. I was more of one of those kids that was actually into like bowl skating and transition skating versus street, like a lot of the older heads that I'm friends with now. These are so big. I like the purple too. Like these are some big wheels. I'm excited just to kind of mix it up, and I think that's something I kind of wanted to mention in this video. Like if you're burnt on skating, or you're just like not feeling it, like things are just kind of like, I don't know, in a rut or whatever. I think one way to kind of shift your gears is to change your setup. So I've been doing that over the course of the years, and I think I've like gone so far into like the tech version of what you can do with a board that I've wanted to go back to my roots of skating some big wheels. Recently I was trying to skate a Jersey barrier, and just getting to the top was really hard. And you know, of course you can get faster bearings, but bearings can only go so fast. Eventually, like, you're gonna need some different wheels. This looks so big. It almost looks like a little, like, I don't know, scary, like a little wild looking, not gonna lie. But worst case scenario, I size back down. I think that's just the case with wheels or boards or anything. Is like, it's good to experiment, even if it's something that might look a little weird at first. The nice part about these dirt pips is they have that like inner built-in washer, so you don't have to worry about the washer on the inside. You just gotta worry about it on the outside. Obviously, I think the assumption is just that you won't be able to flip your board as much because you're higher off the ground, things like that. And the big reason I was influenced for riding big wheels and still being able to flip my board is because I was up in Portland a couple of months ago, and I met this guy Riley. We ended up skating like every day together, and he had like big wheels. Like, I'm bigger than 50, I think he had 60s actually, with like an 8.3 board, and he was flipping his board a lot, and actually kind of made me just like get out of my California bubble of just thinking like, oh, you gotta have small wheels and a small board to like flip your board. And he's like, I have big wheels because he's skating crusty spots, but still can flip his board really good. So I guess what I'm saying is like, just because that like is the standard way of going through things, I think you can always adapt your board. Now, I think the reason like people end up quitting skating as they get older is just due to like these expectations that they put on themselves, really, at the end of the day. You know, like, you have this idea of what you can and cannot do, like, and I've been doing that recently too. Is like knowing that I have the potential to do certain tricks but not being able to do them. We're going on a video part right now, and I think like those expectations sometimes like can like take the joy out of skateboarding. So I'm trying to like mix up my setup also because of that. I think it'll just like make me just think about the setup and have fun and not be so worried about like the tricks that I'm doing. So yeah, you don't want to limit yourself or like hinder your ability to do things just because of your own expectations or because of injuries or because of time or daylight savings or anything like that. I got these Bones ribs, and I really like these because they have a nice height to them. I haven't had these in a long time. I'm a big fan of the Santa Cruz rails personally, so I'm gonna go put these rails on over by the ramp so I can get that leverage on top of there. I did get black rails, so you can't see them as much. That'll be kind of nice. Now you want to turn the drill setting down a little bit so you don't drill through the wood. These rails are nice and big though, so I feel like I'll be able to use them for multiple setups. I like to ride mine a little bit wider out. Some people want them inside more so they can get all rail. I personally like a little bit of the concave and the board touching. Also with this graphic, I think it looks good right on the border. I think because these rails are so tall, it doesn't matter where you place them on the board. It's not gonna have enough concave to like still touch the board. Same thing on the other side. Let's go break this bad boy in. I feel like the bigger wheels will help for backside tail sides and frontside tail sides too, because I have more lock, more wheel. If that makes sense, kind of like holding it against it. We'll see. God damn it. So yeah, my elbows kind of got a little swollen, a little nip on there after that slam. Definitely knocked it pretty good, so I got a little ice on there right now. Live and learn, baby. That's been kind of the name of the game lately. Like such a minor slam, but I don't know. I'll ice it. I'll be fine.